We're back. We are back with a long lost fellow.
You don't like us no more? You just been.
I love you guys.
You've been avoiding us though. It's been months. It's been months.
You know, a lot of people feel that way lately, and I wouldn't expect it from you.
He don't love us no more.
He does not love us.
He don't love us no more.
Guys, if you've ever worked with this guy, put me in the chat. If you've ever had a great experience with this guy, put me in the chat. If you would highly recommend that he work with other people, put me in the chat. I want y'all to stay tuned because coming up next, we're going to talk about
who this guy is.
One. But secondly, we're going to really kind of drill down, babe, on some of the worst transportation problems and really how to navigate them with this guy. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. We're back. Guys, listen. We'd like to welcome you to Behind Closed Doors with the Brookses. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I am an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a pastor. I'm doing all the things, and I'm sitting here. Cherie is the one pushing all the buttons, by the way. If you guys are just... sorry. Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself, babe, since you wanted to come through.
Since I wanted to come through. Hi, guys. I'm Cherie Brooks Jr., author, speaker, relationship coach, and co-pastor. And I am sitting here next to the lovely, magnificent chocolate drop.
Glenn P. Brooks to the...
Junior. Yeah. Introduce yourself.
I did already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And we have a special guest today.
Listen, Omar.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
We had a late night.
We had a late night celebrating.
We was being grown.
Yeah, we was being grown. It's been 2 years, man. So we've been celebrating all week.
I know, and I haven't been able to be there.
Don't you go? Listen, don't you start that. And I wasn't invited. You know what I mean?
I wasn't invited.
Yeah, he was getting ready to go there. Whatever.
I wasn't invited.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our favorite transportation specialist, Omar. What's up, buddy?
Hey, everyone. I am Omar Alberto Valencia, and what can I say? I'm working on my titles. I really want to be able to say and I'm this, and I'm that.
I got you.
But I want some property behind it, right? I want to be able to.
I love it. He said, give me my propers. Cherie, we're talking about some things that is the truth here in Panama where, quite frankly, people come here and I think that they can get really overwhelmed with transportation issues and navigability of the city, especially if they've never been here, Omar. Just a real quick background. There's 4 million people that live in this country. Half of those people live here in the city. So you put all them people in cars, it's a problem sometimes. And it can mimic, for those that have ever traveled in Atlanta, the DC metropolitan area is really gridlocked, New York, all of the things. So it can be a little tough.
So before we get into today's topic, you guys have heard us over the past 2 years talk about Omar. In
Spanish, that would be Omar.
And we wanted to allow you to kind of give people a little bit more of a glimpse into who you are, how you got to Panama or came back to Panama. You can explain that a little bit, and also kind of what you do, because there's been some misconceptions going on. There's been some confusion because apparently Omar is a popular Panamanian name.
It's like John.
And there's more than one Omar, but our Omar is the best. So tell people who you are.
So, for those that don't know me yet, I am Omar Alberto Valencia. I am Panamanian. I was born here. I was raised in Delaware in the United States. I did most of my elementary school, my high school, and all of my high school, and some college, some classes. I took some classes. I dabbled a little bit. I dabbled. I didn't take it serious, but
That's hilarious.
But anyway, excuse me. So I returned to Panama about 13 years ago now. So ever since I've been here, I've, reconnected with a lot of my family. I had to relearn the language. It's a lot of things happening. And the last 2 years since I met you guys was when I started doing what I do now, which, started out in the beginning more of private transportation, right? And this is why when you guys will always reference me will be on private transportation, so much that people started to believe that I was just specifically being your private driver, which I wish it was the case, but they never wanted to hire me full time. They didn't want to pay me, the overtime hours and all of that. They were like, no, we'd rather you just be family. So okay, I'll take me.
Listen, the shade.
Did he just throw us under the bus?
He did.
That's the only reason why I came.
Oh gosh. So the truth is, we don't leave the house every day.
That part.
Number one. If we had a place to go every day, definitely we would have had them on lockdown. But when we met you, Omar, you were doing Uber.
I was doing Uber.
And you had just started kind of doing private transportation. Right. And so from that point in time, almost, I guess 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago, you booked and busy now.
Yes. The scope has grown, and so has the client base. So, and the good thing is I had someone that is very savvy, well, two someones that were very savvy in business, and were able to kind of give me a heads up of what was to come. So, that whole process deserves a story of its own.
Yes.
It was a lot. It has been a lot of growing pains.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to actually drill down on that and go into depth into not only Omar's story personally, but professionally, how he has grown over the last 2 years since we've known him. And we're going to bring that to you guys at some point. I think it's incredibly beneficial, particularly for people who are looking to start businesses and you're looking to immerse yourself in the culture, sort of understand the lay of the land. And although Omar's Panamanian, as he just said, he grew up in the U.S. And so as a kid, he became really adjusted to U.S. culture, and then having to come back here as a young man, getting reused to how things work here was very different. So it's almost like, not that you were an expat, obviously you're Panamanian, but the same feeling of trying to reconnect to a culture. It was
exactly the same process. I had to relearn the language. So you have to understand, when I left here, I was in the third grade.
Oh, wow.
And I spoke Spanish. But I had a third grade level Spanish. Now, can you imagine yourself being a grown man at 25 with a third grade vocabulary and understanding of the language? It doesn't work, right? And it's worse when you can pronounce the words perfectly. Right? This is what I told you. Don't focus too much on pronunciation. It's not that important, right? Not really, up to a point. But pronounce the words perfectly, but you can't, construct proper sentences like an adult.
Like
it's hard.
Hungry. Cold.
Right? Yes.
Frio.
So you just sound rude.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we get into, and like Glenn said, we're gonna delve into Omar's story because he has an amazing story. Talk about his family here in Panama, and really talk about even just you coming back to Panama and learning the language all over again, and then your journey professionally being here, and then getting into this transportation space. So today, as we talk, we're going to talk about some of the worst transportation problems. So many of you have heard us talk about the ease of using Ubers in the city, that there is public transportation. You've also heard us talk about the traffic. And so today, Omar's going to kind of get into some of these issues surrounding traffic and the transportation issues. And as we start that, I don't want to necessarily, because we talked about Ubers and the public transportation. So as a private driver, what are some of the services, or what can people expect when they hire? Let's say in general, a private driver, and then what can they expect when they hire you as a private driver? Because you're special, and special in a good way. I mean that in a good way.
Thank you. Yeah. So normally getting a private driver here, there's plenty of private drivers available, right? Now, you get the good ones, it's a different story, right? And that's like anything in life, right? You can find usually a lot of availability, but it's choosing the right one that goes with your needs. And I give you an example today. When I was coming up the elevator, remember I was on the phone. I'm talking to a client of mine, and same thing. I never met the guy, but he needs transportation. He needs special transportation. He needs to go to the hospital. He has an issue, this and that. He needs to make a stop, get some cash. He needs to buy some clothes. Things that are kind of personal, and you can't trust just anyone to do, because he's got to withdraw cash. Is going to be large amounts,
right?
The wrong person is taking you around,
right?
Yeah,
things can happen.
Things can happen. So, the importance of having a good, trusted person is very high, especially for delicate situations and things that you need. Here, it can be a bit difficult, especially with the language barrier. So, obviously, if you speak the language, you're going to be able to find a lot of people that are responsible, that are trustworthy, that are going to take care of you, and for the right price. The issue becomes when you only need a English speaking driver, right?
Let's talk about that.
Which we've gone through our struggles. I have a lot of people that I can count on to provide the services when I'm not available. The issue comes when it's English specific, right? And it's because most people that speak English are either doing their own thing that has nothing to do with driving, right? Because obviously driving here is not a high paying job that you're looking at to do. So you have to be very specialized in it. So those people are most likely either running some type of company like myself, or working in a very high paying job for a foreign company and things like that. So
So let me dive into that. So one of the things that oftentimes when you go to a foreign country, I mean, you can get transportation. You can get in a cab. You can get in a car. One thing that I always advise, especially if you're going to be here and you're really exploring, you're not here just as a tourist. You're kind of exploring the country because you got some specific things you want to see. If you do not speak Spanish, I'm going to give our story. So when we met you, there were things that I needed to do. I needed to find where certain stores were. I needed to go get our electric set up. There were things I needed a translator for. What I got in you was not only a driver, but I also got a translator. So if I was just coming here as a tourist, just going to, and I just need transportation from the airport to my hotel or to my Airbnb, language is not such a big deal in that case. But if I want, say, a driver to take me around and show me the city, it's kind of hard for them to explain to me what I'm seeing if they don't speak English. And so that is a specialized category of drivers here. Not every driver speaks English. I would say more than not, they don't. The majority
don't.
Right, the majority don't. So that's a premium when you can get a English speaking driver, a driver that's bilingual. And if that's your expectation, you need to express that on the front end when you contact a driver or transportation service, so that they know that that's what your needs are. But then also the thing that was an advantage with you, Omar, is that not only do you speak English, you understand American culture, especially for us as African Americans. You understand our vibe. I can tell you things and you kind of can pick up what I mean, what I'm looking for, because you understand the culture. And that is unique to Omar. I have not met I've met other drivers that speak English. But I have not met another driver that I would say is bicultural as well as bilingual.
Yeah.
And that's been an advantage.
Yeah, I think, and I certainly want Omar to chime in on that. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to Behind Closed Doors. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. It's my wife, Cherie. This is Omar, our favorite transportation specialist. He does so much more than that. We're going to get into a subsequent episode on some of the growth, some of the business opportunities that he's expanded into. But one of the things that I've always said about Omar, what makes him unique, what sets him apart, is that he's not just bilingual. See, there's a difference in having now lived here for 2 years. I'm understanding that there's a very much of a difference between being bilingual versus being bicultural. And in terms of just being able to feel and understand nuances. A lot of times, if you meet a person who speaks English as a second language, please understand it is their second language. And unless they are in a situation where they are speaking that day to day on a regular basis with English speaking people as their first language, and I'm going to make that caveat, you're not going to get a person that understands the nuances. Then you may ask, well, why is that important? To Cherie's point, when you're here, and again, you have to understand the various reasons people come here. If you're just here for a simple vacation, none of this may be really super necessary, depending on where you're traveling. But when you're here for maybe you're scouting this place out to move here in the future, maybe you're on a medical sort of a situation where we've run into people who come here specifically for medical procedures and things like that. It would behoove you to have somebody in your corner who can help walk you through and hold your hand, not just with the Spanish language, but the Panamanian culture. And that's the thing that's nuanced that Omar brings to the table. And so by us having met him, and I think it was just God's providence that kind of brought us together. But once we did, Omar, we connected on a level that we're family now. It's different, and I want people to understand that you're not going to meet every driver and they become family.
And before you go, he's our family. Y'all can't have him.
Lord,
he's
Jesus.
ours.
Lord,
they can't leave.
Listen,
y'all not gonna get what we got.
Listen.
So I'm just gonna say that we got a special relationship here.
Omar, can you talk? Because I know a lot of times, bro, you go through having to try and match a driver with clients of yours that are asking for really specific nuanced things. Talk to people a little bit about, kind of what I'm saying and bringing them up to speed on how you even have to navigate all of that.
So the number one issue that I have with that is people want another Omar. And, so someone commented on there's too many of them to keep up with. That's true, but there's only one that's me.
Right.
And that's the reality of it. Yes, I can get other drivers that may speak English, right? They might understand your needs. Hey, I need you to take me here. I need you to take me there. But they might not be able to provide the same type of conversation that you're going to have with me. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's just out of my hands. I can't.
It's only one of you.
It's only one of me.
You haven't learned how to
I could
clone him.
Yes, I'm working on it. Cherie is still looking for the formula, but once we have it, we'll let you know. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So here's what I want to do. I just appreciate YW said saludos to, we love touring with Omar, trustworthy and knowledgeable. He felt like family. That is absolutely true. Sending all of you blessings.
Oh, the Wardlaw family.
The Wardlaw family.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? Like.
Why did I heard from them? Some pictures, they just ghosted me.
Right. Look, see, you got to understand Omar's sense of humor. So he'll say little things and he's just playing.
It means no harm.
No. Well, let's kind of get into some unpredictable travel times and all of the different nuances of what Omar does and how people can navigate that, whether they have him or another driver, babe.
So let's talk about the traffic patterns, the times, and because you could leave at one particular time and get somewhere in 15 minutes, and then you leave at another time and it take you 2 hours. So let's talk about Panama traffic.
So unfortunately, Panama's traffic is very unpredictable. Even with the times that we like to say, oh, you can go during this time and this time, it'll be that day that
don't matter.
That don't matter. Technically in the city, traffic's not supposed to start until 10 a.m. See,
That's a joke.
no, it's not a joke.
Really?
It's not supposed to start until 10 a.m.
So
Lately, it has been starting pretty much all day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So normally, going out to Panama Pacifico, if you go out there at 9, you'll be able to go to Panama Pacifico, do whatever you got to do in Panama Pacifico, and come back before 12, and no traffic either way. Lately, I've gotten caught in traffic jams. Mm-hmm. So, and that's one of the things about rainy season. Rainy season throws a sense of unpredictability to the equation every time, because when it rains, what happens is most people that would normally leave at a certain time will wait until the rain stops, right? Okay. So what happens as soon as the rain stops? Everybody's out. The people that were supposed to leave 2 hours earlier and the people that are leaving at that time. So now it's gridlocked. Mm-hmm. Add to that the flash flooding that can occur on certain streets. Mm-hmm. El Cangrejo was very famous for flooding. They have fixed that overall, and so was Marbella, was very, very famous for flooding. Mm-hmm. Now that has been fixed during the time of Blandón when he was mayor. He did a lot of works to the drainage systems and all that stuff. So now the streets don't flood as much. But you've seen there's a few one close to Catane that will have like 4 or 5 inches of water every once in a while. Yeah. And then it'll go right back down as soon as it stops raining. Right?
Yeah, so, real quick, I want to jump in and say a huge thank you to John. Just became a member of our day ones. Congratulations, sir. Listen, if you want to become a member of our channel, we encourage you to please do me a favor, go to the link in the descriptions below and do that. We're going to also give you some information on some other things we're doing. For those of you guys who are just popping in, I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. This is Behind Closed Doors with the Brookses, and this lovely, beautiful young lady next to me is my beautiful bride, 26 years in a row.
And not your current wife, but your wife.
My current wife, Cherie A. Brooks Jr.
His wife.
Listen, I just hey.
If y'all seen the meme, y'all know what that is. But Omar, as we're talking about the times, one thing that is an issue with traffic, like you said, it's unpredictable. Mm-hmm. But as far as people being patient, as far as them allowing time, not waiting to the last minute, let's get into that, because I know a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I can leave at 10:15 and be there by 10:30, and that's not always realistically.
In Panama, you're guaranteed to be late. So
you got to say that again. You said that doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work in Panama. You're guaranteed to be late, right? So what could normally take you 5-10 minutes can easily take you 25 minutes to half an hour. What normally takes you 20-25 minutes can easily take you an hour, right? And I'll give you an example. And there are some places, some routes. Once you're here, you get to learn them, right? That you can say for sure, if you go at that time, you're gonna be there for 2 hours. And one of them is gonna be if you're going from the JW Marriott to Multi Plaza at 5 o'clock, you're not getting there until 7. That's guaranteed.
And it's down the street. It's down the street.
And it's literally down the street. Yeah.
So speaking of which, we had a friend that just recently went out to Coronado, did the bus trip to Coronado, went to Albrook Mall, took the bus 2 hours or so, out to Coronado, no problem, got back, pretty much that same kind of time frame, no problem. It took her 6 hours to get from Albrook Mall, which is on the other side of El Cangrejo where we live, over to the JW, which is Punta Patilla, and it took her 6 hours of a trip that should have probably taken 20-30 minutes. Like she probably could have walked.
She could have walked fast.
That's right on Punta Pacifica, right next to Punta Patilla. Right? Yeah, and that's a trip that should have taken no more than 15-20 minutes.
Right.
If you took the highway.
Right.
If you took the long route,
city.
20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, to the city. Took 6 hours. Wow. And then also, not all drivers are the same. This is another thing. I actually know the city because I've been in this throughout the city for so long. You mentioned when I met you guys, I was doing Uber, right? And I'll get into the story of the Uber more because that's a funny thing right there. When I met you guys, you guys remember that. But that one of the advantages of doing Ubers for so long when I was doing it was that I got to learn a lot of the streets. A lot of the streets here in Panama just don't make sense. There are streets that I call them European streets where they just switch sides. Like you normally drive on the right. Yeah. Now this one, when you turn, you gotta right on the left. Yeah. I remember, I think you were with me one of the times, and you're like, "What are you doing?
You're on the wrong side of the street."
Wrong side of the street, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm good. So and I was used to that because in Chorrera, there's a lot of streets that are like that, right? And they have no type of signaling, no special signal, no nothing. You just know. You just gotta know, right? And how do you find? Well, how do I find out? When people start honking at you and flashing their lights, you gonna know you're on the wrong side of the street.
Wow. That's like there are also a lot of one-way streets here in the city, and so one thing you talked about was like knowing where you're going. So here in Panama, there aren't a lot. There aren't a lot of street signs.
No, not many.
And so
not many street labels.
So you just gotta know
street signs. You got to stop the regular stop signs on the one way.
Well, we're gonna talk about
the names on the actual streets.
Right. But we're gonna talk about the stop signs too. We're gonna get into that too. So as I often have people I talk to on calls, and they're like, "Well, I'm gonna just rent a car when I come. I'm not gonna hire her." I'm like, I wouldn't advise that because you're not gonna know. Fun. But you're not gonna. Yeah. I don't know if that's fun. I think that's stressful.
Some people jump off cliffs for fun.
Okay.
Some people bungee jump.
That may be exciting.
Some people like extreme sports.
Right.
Driving
in Panama. Listen. Here's
it's an adventure.
Here's a clip. I need everybody quiet on the set. Driving in Panama is an extreme sport.
Help me.
There you go.
Listen.
Help me.
That is hilarious. Y'all, if you're just jumping in, just thank you so much for joining us. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. We are thankful for the more than 6,000 subscribers. We recently went over that number, and we're just so excited that you guys have decided to just kind of check in that way. We also encourage you to join the community. Our Day One community gets access to us. For those of you guys who are traveling, one of the things that the Day One community enjoys is that we have them on a group text. And so it's kind of cool to be able to reach out. Even if we're not in country, you can reach out on a group text while you're here. If you're in a jam, and just say, "Hey, Glenn, Cherie, it's so and so. I'm in a jam. Can you connect me with somebody?" And it's kind of cool because we know quite a few people, and we can help you out sometimes. And so I just think that's one of the great things. So definitely join that. This is Omar, Alberto, Valencia. Listen, the Omar. I need y'all just like the Osa.
You got to see the whole thing.
It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing. So let's get more into, again, we're talking about some of Panama's worst transportation problems exposed.
So we've talked about how, the time, there are no set necessarily time traffic patterns here.
It switches, yeah.
It switches, it's not consistent, so it's unpredictable. You want to allow yourself time. You want to allow time. If you got to be somewhere in 30 minutes, leave an hour early. Just give yourself some time. Don't play it close here because you're going to be late. Another issue we talked about. You talked a little bit about drivers, but let's talk about people. There is some public transportation here, yes. And we did an episode previously talking about the train. But what would you say, especially in the city? I guess let's talk a little bit about the bus system. How, if you got to be somewhere in a timely manner, how beneficial is that, or non-beneficial is the public transportation system, or what would you recommend?
I'm going to speak on my experience when I didn't have a vehicle, because when I came to Panama, I came with no car. I didn't have a bank account, none of that stuff, right? I basically started from the bottom, right? And so I was reliant on public transportation. I also did not live in the center of the city. I lived outside of the city. So, one thing that I can tell you, the further you go from the center of the city, the worse the transportation gets.
Gotcha.
Right? That's just the reality, and this is why I tell most people, if this is the first time you want to move to Panama, you want to live in Panama, start out in the city. It's going to be the softest possible landing you can have. Start out as close to the center as possible. Right? I know these lower prices outside of the city seem very, but you'll quickly find out you're not going to be saving anything because everything to do is in the city. Yeah. So you're going to be transporting back and forth. You're going to be wasting a whole bunch of time in traffic. You're going to be wasting a bunch of time on either a private driver or on taxis or on Ubers. And, Ubers are cheap until you have to sit in traffic for 2 hours in an Uber.
So real quick, and I need you guys to sort of drill down on this. And Sheree, I want to let Omar kind of talk about when we met you, you guys lived in Chorrera.
Yeah.
And that's 30 minutes outside the city,
with no
give
traffic.
or take, with no traffic.
Literally, like zero guys on the.
Do me a favor. Can you, just for context, give people an idea? So when you say move, if you're coming here, if you're going to spend any length of time and you want to do stuff, you want to stay as close to the inner city as possible for the ease of getting back and forth and doing all the things. Because the truth of the matter is that people come from the interior when they have time off, when they have vacations. They come to the city to turn up. They come to the city to do things. They come to the city to... Can you kind of give people sort of what that commute was like? And you and Mayu kind of went through it. Like, it blew my mind how early you guys got up and what y'all's day-to-day when you lived outside the city.
So living outside the city for the regular folks that need to work in the city, like I'll give you an example. My wife goes in at 6:30 in the morning. We will have to get up at 4 in the morning, 3:30. 4 in the morning was more of the time that we got up. We were supposed to get up at 3:30. That gives you enough time to get dressed, without rushing and cussing each other out. But at 4,
Help me.
you're
I love it. We're going to keep it all the way a buck. Come on.
right. So, at 4, if you're rushing, fussing, you get in the car before 4:20, you're on the road, because by 4:30 you were late. You're not reaching the city until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. If you leave at 4:30.
Wow.
Back up.
10-minute difference.
Say what?
Yes.
Say that again.
Right. Yeah. You're waking up at 3:30 in the morning to try to leave the house by 4. Right. Obviously, after I explain the rest, you're gonna know that you're not gonna be able to get up every morning at 3:30 when you're getting at home at 11 and 10 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night sometimes because of all the traffic. So this is the reality. Most of the working class, people that you see that work in the hospitals, the nurses, the staff, the hotels,
stores,
most of them cannot afford to live in the city, right? So you have to live outside of the city. It's where you can find accessible housing prices, right? So those people, they're waking up on a normal day to go to work 3:30 in the morning to be able to make it to the city, before 5, and then they're waiting in their vehicles, either going back to sleep in their vehicles or going out to get breakfast or whatever they're doing until their time to go in, which is normally 7 or 8 or 9 a.m. And you have to do that to guarantee you get there early, because also most employers, they don't care that you have a 3-hour commute every day. You got to be there on time.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And I actually, before I started Ubering and all that stuff, I don't think I've ever told you guys, but I was working for a law firm here in Panama. I was providing tech support on over the internet. Remote logging into their computers and stuff to help desk type stuff for a law firm in the U.S. It's a big law firm, and I actually talked to my boss. I was like, "Hey, I live in Chorrera, right? Like, I have to leave my house by 4 a.m. every day. Is it possible for me to start earlier so I can leave earlier so I can beat the traffic to go home?" and I still be able to do all of the stuff. They're like, listen, as long as it doesn't interfere with all the tickets that you got to do, we're fine with it, right? They were very lenient. Most are not, right? So I was actually able to move my starting time from 7 to 5:30, so I could leave at 2:30.
Gotcha.
Right?
Wow.
Before the traffic started.
So one of the things that we're trying to appreciate that, Miguel, you are 100% correct. Traffic in Panama is bad. I'm not saying this to scare you from coming. What we're doing is we want to present you guys a realistic picture, because here's what I know. If you come in here and you're traveling, you're coming here to do stuff, right? You're not coming here to stay in your hotel all day, every day in this beautiful weather. Even during rainy season, quite frankly, it's a whole different ball game. Rating at 85, 90 degrees versus 35 degrees where I come from. So let me be clear about that. Then the last thing you want to do is get here, and now whether it's an excursion that you're doing, maybe it's a show over at Panama Hilton, the Michael Jackson show, all the different things, maybe it's a dinner, maybe it's an anniversary. Cherie and I did our 25th wedding vow renewal here last year, and we had like 50, 60 people that were traveling here. If we had not organized their transportation for them, that could have been problematic. You could have had people who literally were flying in just for the wedding, and they were pretty much turning around the following day and leaving. That would have been problematic. So I just want to encourage you guys to stay tuned, stick around. We're going to go over a few more things, and we're going to wrap it up. And then we're going to get into some things over the weeks to come on Omar's trajectory, how his business has grown. It's a true testament to when you decide to collaborate and really levy what it is that you do and leverage it with other people, how impactful things can get for you and the people you serve. Cherie?
Right. So we touched on this a little bit, Omar, but I want to really talk about, so we talked about the time frame. So this we didn't get into. So we were talking about public transportation. So outside the city, it's not as easily accessible. It's definitely going to take you a lot longer getting back to and forth in the city. One thing in particular I want to touch on is using like taxis and ride share outside the city. There are a lot of taxis, more taxis than Ubers and things like that. But the taxis.
But the taxis.
That's
playing Russian roulette. This is a reality. It's the taxis. So, and that doesn't mean every single taxi driver is a bad, is a bad call. No. If you're gonna use a taxi service, make sure if you're staying at a hotel, make sure to use the taxi that they recommend. So you go to their concierge, or you go to the front desk, or whoever is there, and you have them get you a taxi. You're not gonna have any problems. They're gonna charge you a fair price. You're gonna know how much it's gonna be to get to where you're going. All of that. And most cases, if you forget something in the vehicle, they'll return it because, they have a relationship with that hotel. So they want to keep that relationship. Getting a taxi out in the middle of the street, going out of the hotel that isn't part of an organization. Again, it's playing Russian roulette. You might be good 2-3 times. You might be good forever, or it might be that one time that it happened, and who knows how it ended.
Right. So taxi services here, taxis are not regulated. It's not a regulated licensed thing. Whereas like in the States, they have meters, this, that, and the other. So you can get in one taxi, they charge you $2. Get in the next taxi, they realize you're an expat, you're visiting, and that $2 ride is now $25. So it's unregulated. So that number one. Taxi drivers, from my opinion, are the worst drivers here in Panama. They drive very reckless. They speed because they're trying to get to the next person. They're trying to pick up as many rides as they can. So they're not necessarily the safest drivers. I recommend to people, if you're not going to get a private driver, that you use Uber because at least it's regulated. You can track where you are. You can send somebody your location. And I think that's wise whenever you're in any foreign country, is to use something that somebody can track where you are. Because we don't want no 60-minute specials.
Right. Omar, you got something you wanted to, because you was laughing when Cherie was saying that.
No, so I just want to build a little bit on what you were saying with the taxi. So there are regulations for the taxis, right? The issue is you're not gonna know. So the problem is you coming in from the outside, you don't know what the normal fare is, right? But there is an established amount depending on where you're going, on the time of day, and all that stuff. And most Panamanians know it, right? And depending on the area and all that stuff. But you're not gonna know it. I've had clients that I picked up, take them around, and they're asking me like, "Hey, just a question from the JW to this place. How much would have been at 11 o'clock at night?" I'm like, "Well, because of the time on a taxi, it should have been about $6. You know, $5.50, $6. They charged them $40, right? But again, it is in the country. They went out. They don't know the fares, and they spoke Spanish. They were from Mexico. They weren't even from the U.S. And they got taken for $40.
Wow.
For a $5 ride, right? So it's a thing, you know. Obviously, they're gonna do the loop, go around, and take you for a whole ride around there to make it seem like it was worth that amount, but it wasn't. And it's worth their time to do stuff like that because they just made their whole day with you.
Right. That's good. So, want to address, I see you, Victory Paydays with Jeanette. Hello, Jeanette. I will post Omar's information in the chat. So, I'm going to give you guys a quick caveat. As I said earlier, Omar is booked and busy. So, if you are planning to come to Panama, in most cases, you need to try to reach out to him. I would say no less than 30 days in it. No, or is it longer than that now?
Yes.
Okay.
At the very least 30 days.
Okay.
But 2 to 3 months out. Like when you are planning your trip, your days, you're gonna buy the plane ticket, that's when you should be reaching out to me.
Okay.
To make sure I have those days available for
okay,
you.
so we'll put it in the chat. Jeanette, you might get lucky, you might get in with him. He may have a day. I don't know what his weeks are looking like now.
July's if it's in July, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but they said I think they said they're here, so I think that's not going to work. But we'll give you their information.
And it's their fault. Don't blame me. It's all on them.
We're going to put his information in the description after the live so you guys can go back and get his information. So get in contact with him for your next visit. So if you're here now, you probably won't be able to book him, but he's busy. But get his information so you can reach out to him the next time.
Let me give some context just really quickly. Gary, I appreciate you. Gary Spencer says, I used Omar for my travel in Panama. He is awesome. So let me just give you guys a little bit of context. Oh, that's your guy? Yeah. Okay, my man.
They're all my guys.
I love it. Let me give y'all some context. When we first got here, we literally just celebrated our second year anniversary, Paniversary. We call it on June 30th. We met Omar probably within the first 2 weeks we were here, maybe something. Definitely
within the first 30 days.
For sure. When we met Omar, he was Ubering. He also owned a sightseeing company that he was doing all the things, taking people out on little excursions. And over our relationship with a few months, we began to understand sort of how he did business. And we had some things that we wanted to do here in the country. Namely, the big thing that we was doing was our 25th wedding vow renewal. Like 6 months from the time we were here, we were going to do this event. So we started working with Omar, his team, on how he could best service us, right? Throughout that effort, we helped him sort of rewrite some back-end things and some things to help his business function smoother. As a result, he really began to build the kind of capacity to book people before they ever left the U.S. and or whatever country they were traveling here from. So in that time, people would come, and I remember Omar would run around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to keep up with fares and people who were booking and money. So as a result of us just kind of helping, it just helped to streamline it. As a result of that, he's now, so when Cherie say booked and busy, I don't want you guys to hear he doesn't want to serve you, he doesn't want to show up, but we've had people literally run up to us on the street, and we get this a lot where people will notice us and they will say, hey, and one of the first things they'll say is, oh my God, I need to get in touch with Omar. Can I? And I'm always happy.
Take me tomorrow.
Yeah, can you get him to take me here, there, or whatever? But the point I'm making is that it's a lot. Now the good news is though, is that Omar has a network of people that he works with. So sometimes it can work out to where, depending on what your needs are, he can help get you taken care of. But I just need you guys to really understand sort of the context of that. And actually, it's a good problem to have.
Right, and I just want to emphasize on that. He has a network of other drivers. They are not him. So he can get you transportation if he's not available. Oftentimes he can get you a driver. More than likely, it's probably not going to be an English-speaking driver. So if you need translation services, that may not work for you. If you need translation services, if you want an English-speaking driver, if you want Omar himself, you need to reach out to him. I would say 6 weeks at the least before you arrive here to try to get on his schedule. But like he said, as soon as you purchase your flight, you need to reach out to him to try to get on his calendar. And we're sorry, Omar, that you're busy.
Yeah, sorry that
we told people about you. I guess we should have kept them a secret.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking accountability for that. I know it's hard.
Yeah, wow. Wow. Listen.
Help me.
Wow. Omar always blames us for how crazy his life is. And it's like, be careful what you pray for, sir.
You asked for this.
Listen, you asked for all this smoke.
Listen, I was forewarned. This is why I do not complain.
Yes.
But I do like to place blame.
Right. That's kind of his personality. Anyway, here's one of the things that, and I think this is just really interesting, Omar, Victory, Paydays with Jeanette. I'm thinking that's her first name. Jeanette, I got to get through the whole thing. She said that we took Uber yesterday from Casco Viejo to Sabroso, Panama, and he took forever to end the ride and then charged us a wait fee. There was no wait at all. Omar, can you speak to how people may run into challenges with the app? I've had people ask me, can I use my regular app, that I use in the U.S. for Uber? But are there some nuances? Because I've seen this happen before.
Yeah, so it's the same app as the one that you have in the U.S. You don't have to download anything. As soon as you arrive in Panama, it's going to switch over to Panama and it's going to give you accessibility to the features that you have here in Panama. So with the wait fee, what was the name?
That was Jeanette.
Jeanette. So to keep that from happening, Jeanette, what you can do is instead of ordering the Uber on your credit card, you can do a cash ride and just have the cash to pay them. So cash rides are more difficult for them to do things like add extra wait times or not closing the app, the ride when they finish, because to be able to charge you, they have to close the ride, right? So that's a tip you could use to keep things like that from happening. I remember when Uber first came down here, you had a lot of unsavory characters that were driving Uber. They got quickly taken out, with time. But that's one of the things that they would do is it'll be a $2 ride. They drop you off, leave the ride open, and then go to the airport, go all over the place, keep it open for 2 hours, and then you'll get a bill for like $160.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So most of the times Uber will take care of you, though. I got to do that.
So I'm going to say this real quick. When Omar says they were taken out, they weren't eliminated or unalived. They were fired and taken off the app. I just thought I'd add that caveat because I can hear how some people's brains might work. Dimples Dawson has a question. She says, we are coming in November. When should we contact him? We already have our flight. When should we contact him?
Now, at this moment.
When should we contact him?
Download WhatsApp if you haven't.
Right.
Put in my number.
Yes.
Plus 507 6041 9579.
Oh gosh.
Say it again.
You contact me now.
Hold on.
Yeah, go.
And thanks to you guys again. Like I said, I came here to throw you under the bus. Thanks to you guys, now I have an assistant that's helping me with the messages. So if you message them, she should be contacting you right back. Her name is Athena, and let me know how it goes with her.
Say the number again. It's 507
plus 507 6041 9579.
Make sure that's 6041 9579.
Yes.
Okay, I just put it in the chat for you guys. So it's for you guys. So if you are coming, I'm going to say this. If you're coming within the next, if by chance you're within 30 days or you're coming, reach out to him by WhatsApp. If it's more than 30 days, you're going to go to the link that's going to be posted in the description to schedule a time with him to talk. Now, note that although you send him a WhatsApp, there is no guarantee that he's available. But that's the quickest way for you to get in touch with him to find out his availability. If you're coming, if it's less than 30 days, you want to reach out to him on a WhatsApp. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. I wanted to go back to real quick. Let me follow up. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to add something. We joke a lot here, but I'm really grateful for everything that has been happening. I've been working like crazy to try to get to everyone, because as you know, and you have to tell me, you can't take care of everyone, but I try my best to try to. This is why I've taken the leap in investing in a assistant, and investing in a new system, which we'll be talking about later. Hopefully it'll be done by the next week, but I've put a lot of time and money into it to try to grow this and be able to give everyone that reaches out to me a prompt response. This is an issue we have in Panama as a whole. Mm-hmm. Right, and you guys understand it better than anyone, because you've seen me struggle to try to get it right. And honestly, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be at the level that I am right now technologically, just because of all of the setbacks that we have. Like in the States, it's easy to set up a payment portal. Right. You guys have so many options without a whole lot of red tape. Right. For Panama, it's very, very limited. Yes. We are very, very, very limited here on the things that we can do and we cannot do, what we have access to. And then, it sets a bar to keep, most people to be able to do it. This is why you have these big companies. They have these portals. Right. They're spending thousands of dollars that most people don't have to get started to be able to offer that. Right. So I appreciate everyone that has reached out to me, inquired about my services. Just even if you didn't take my services, just took the time to find out about me. So grateful for that. And whoever I was not able to take around, reach to, and get back in a timely manner. Hopefully in the future, if you do decide to give me a second chance, hopefully I'll be able to make that up for you. And one thing that I do is stand behind my service. And if I make any mistake that's on my part, you already know, if you already had the experience. I believe this is what makes my service shine the most, is when things go wrong, I will make sure it gets straightened out. And even if it means giving back the money,
I've watched them do that. And just real quick, and I know you had to follow up, Sheree. Omar, you got to remember, and this is where, again, there's a difference between being bilingual and bicultural. Omar grew up in the U.S. So he understands U.S. mindsets and people in the U.S. And so when you have people from the U.S. and Canada, their mindset is a lot different than people who are in Panama, who can kind of let things slide, if you will, because it's kind of like, hey, man, it's mañana, we'll figure it out. No muss, no fuss. When you come here from out of this area, people don't have that mindset. So, when I tell you I've watched this man make it right, he jumps through hoops to make things right, even if it costs him money and time. So this is one of the reasons why the systems that he has now in his business is keeping him from losing his hair, at least on the top. He's lost it on the side, God bless him, but at least on the top. So make sure that you schedule some time if you can. Sheree, what you got?
Right, and I'm just going to say this. Omar he goes above and beyond. And so any of you guys that have used the services before, you can attest to that. And the difference between Omar and a lot of other drivers, like we said, is not even him being bicultural. He is service oriented. He thinks service. Yeah, that's who he is. Whereas he is a giver. He is going to make sure that you're taken care of. I would not recommend him to people if I did not believe that he was going to take care of people. I often send, like, when single women come here by themselves, I fully trust him to take care of them, to be able to make sure that they're taken care of. So he provides an above and beyond experience for you, and I highly, highly recommend him. Like I said, we're trying to clone him so he can scale his business a little more, because we need multiple Omars.
Right.
But he's working on a formula.
Right. But just want you guys, just be patient. if you try to reach out to him, like I said, and that's what I'm saying, he needs advance notice as much as possible, because it's only one of him.
So Cheryl, I think it's Cheryl that said, and I think this is kind of dope, we will be coming in March. So January would be a good time to book. Yeah, that would probably
book now.
Well, hold tight, Sheree. You're not. Calm down, guys. Let me read, and then we'll go to that. I'm reading what she said. She's asking questions. Calm down, guys. Jesus, y'all see this? That's why I got to mute their microphones just so I can get a word in edgewise. We will be coming in March, our last visit. Omar looking no, I'm sorry. We will be coming in March. So January would be a good time to book. Listen, or sooner. I'm going to get to this. Omar was busy, and this is the part I wanted y'all to hear. Omar was busy when we came in June, but was kind enough to give us a consult. Very helpful. So yes, Cheryl, we definitely want you to book now. But I needed to get that out because that speaks to his character. Cherie is just so, that's the Marine in her. Jesus. I'm
sorry. I'm just answering the question. But yes, guys, if you are looking to come to Panama and you want to book with Omar, if it's 6 months from now, if it's a year from now, if you know you're definitely coming, if you have an idea, go ahead and get on his books as soon as possible, because he books months in advance. He has people come, he does consults, and people will book months in advance. And so he only has so much time. It's only 350, how many days in a year? 357? 365 days in a year. Well, we're going to say 357 because you need to take some time off. So it's only so many days in a year and so many hours in a day, and he needs to start taking a day off every now and then.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So, just piggybacking on what you were saying, as soon as you have the dates set, or you're getting the date set, so when should you book me? Around the same time as when you're booking your plane ticket, right? You book it way in advance, book it with me. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation, especially if you're looking to do a lot of things, right? If you want a few days, you want to do a week, 2 weeks, I've done that. It's better if we start working on that months in advance. Even if it's for next year, right? Months in advance. So to make sure, one, that I have that off the calendar, and I can have everything set up for the time you get here, and find some stuff out, because some people have some special needs, right? So the more time you give me, the better experience will be, definitely.
Right. And the only other thing I'm gonna say, because I know some people, you wait till the last minute to get your plane tickets. So don't wait till you get your plane ticket. As soon as you know that you're coming, because you're going to play that game with the plane tickets, watching them go up and down. If you know that you're coming, go ahead and book with Omar as soon as possible, so that you can get on his calendar. Because the last thing, if you wait 30 days out, 45 days to buy your ticket, he may not be available. And so just, as soon as possible, go ahead and get on his calendar, connect with him, and book. And so somebody's saying they're coming in August, on August 13th. Is it too late to book? No, probably not. It may not be. We're gonna have the link in the description. If you go through the chat there, we posted his WhatsApp number. I'll repost it now.
I'll put it up.
If you want to reach out to him by WhatsApp, you can. So that you can get on his calendar sooner, so that you guys can talk and see if he is available. So reach out to him. Like if you're coming, I would say if it's at least 30 days from now, go ahead and try to reach out to him. Try to schedule to get on his schedule a consult. If it's less than 30, reach out by WhatsApp.
Reach out by WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm running late, and I got to get off this call. So I need you guys to. What else? What have we not covered? Okay. Because at this particular point, I definitely love it that you guys are getting. We wanted to do this. Let me just take a moment and step back. The reason we wanted to do this is because we're watching how overwhelmed, one, Omar's getting, but two, how as residents here, we want to see to it that if you come here, you experience what we have called home for the last 2 years on a really, really cool level. So it matters to us that people that tune into this channel, that you guys have the best experience possible. And so we want to make sure that you understand how things are being done. Sheree?
Right. So we've kind of touched on pretty much everything as far as transportation. We're going to come back with Omar so he can tell you guys his story. get a little bit more into the different services that he offers, because he's much more than just a driver. He's way more than just a driver. And so we're going to get into that next time. As we said before, if you are planning to come to Panama and you would like to book Omar, the Omar Alberto Valencia, our Omar.
Say the whole thing.
Say the whole thing.
It's like a Tribe Called Quest.
Either go to the link that'll be posted in the description if you're coming in 30 days or longer. If you are coming within the next 30 days, please reach out to him via his WhatsApp. His assistant will get back to you and try to get you confirm your dates and see if he's available to try to get that done. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I want to thank you guys. I know Omar thanked you, but I want to thank you guys too for supporting our guy. Omar has been a godsend to us.
Yeah.
Since we've been here. He's provided support when I was sick, getting me to doctor's appointments, all of the things. He's become much more than just a driver for us. He's family. His family has become our family. Yeah. Y'all don't get that though. Just make sure you don't.
Sheree,
y'all
cut
don't
it
get
out.
that.
Listen. She's so territorial.
No,
just finish what you were saying.
No, the
please.
reason I'm saying that because we've had this comment. People will expect for him to, how can I say this in a nice way? We have a special relationship that we've developed with Omar. He is going to go above and beyond for you guys as a client. But our relationship is a special relationship.
Yeah,
And
we're family. So I think that's probably the best way to characterize that.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's going to treat you like family. He's going to go above and beyond. But I just don't want.
Sheree is saying you're not going to Christmas dinner at his mother-in-law's.
You ain't getting what we get
because
I'm being
of
selfish.
please, I don't want. Listen.
No, but also if I can add here,
Jesus.
right? See if I can save the situation a little bit.
Save this.
I think what Sheree's trying to say
Save her from herself.
is that even they a lot of times have to wait until I'm available.
Yes.
You know, they're
Let's
not getting
put it out there.
they're not getting a specialized preferential,
No.
you know, on the calendar. And you know, even though I hear the disappointment in her voice whenever she reaches out and be like, "Can you take me to do this on this day?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm already booked up for that day." And so, yeah, exactly. So now Cherie she gets on my schedule. She does the exact same thing that she's telling you guys to do.
Yes.
And she's reaching out, "Hey, on this date, are you have availability?
Yes.
I'll check the calendar. If I do, no, all right, don't worry. We can do whatever you want to do. I'll block the day for her." Right? Because we have that relationship. But you know, I'm not bumping anyone to
That
get
part.
to Glenn or to get to Cherie.
That part.
That's not happening.
Not at all.
And so you can't expect the same.
Yes.
You can't expect that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I've had some of those requests.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
And that's what I was trying to get at, because Omar and I have had that discussion, and it's just get on his calendar, reach out to him, schedule. He's going to take care of you. And I just want to thank all of you guys that have reached out to him, that have used his services, that has helped this young brother grow his business. It does my heart good to be able to see, to pour into the economy of Panama, to pour into Panamanians, to be able to add value to the people of Panama and help them grow and help them to flourish. And I'm so proud of you.
You know, and if I can add, you guys told me all of this coming in, right? And obviously, I was skeptical. I told you about it. We've had this we've gone back and forth, and we have the type of relationship that we can talk about pretty much anything, and no one's getting mad about the other, and there are no hard feelings, none of that, right? In part because they are the most mature people you'll ever meet, you know, and that's a reality. I told them, if you know their story, you know what I'm talking about. If you follow them, you already know this. I'm not telling you nothing new. If you don't follow them. Check out all of their previous videos. You know, amazing people, right? And they really are who they say they are. And you know, I don't get tired of thanking you guys for one, being so genuine, being who you really are. You know, and one of the number one questions that I get from people that come from you guys is, "Are they really like that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they are." They are, you know, who you see is what you get. And that is very rare in this day and age, you know. So,
Yeah,
I'm
appreciate
very, very grateful. Like, when I first met you, one of the things you said is like, I prayed for you, brother. What you didn't know is I prayed for you too. So, like, I never asked you to be my mentor, but you just took it up on you. And even know that I know you guys have a business, an established business of mentorship. You guys never were like, all right, well, now you owe me so much for all this that I've done for I mean, like, gotta give props where props are due. Yeah. You don't find that around, everyone else that I've met so far, and you guys know the story.
Yeah, yeah.
Have always came with,
strings
agenda.
attached.
Strings attached, different agenda, and these guys really are who they say they are. If one thing that I want you to walk away with from all of this is,
Oh, well.
This is why y'all family.
Yeah,
Yes.
no doubt.
Y'all can't leave.
No, we're
They got
not going
kidnapped.
anywhere. Sorry, this turned into a big love fest, but welcome to the room. So I think
Listen,
we're done for today.
I think we are, yeah.
Appreciate you guys
Appreciate you
for hanging with us
Yeah.
today. Like I said, we'll be back with more information. We'll be back with we're going to bring Omar back, and so you guys can get to know him a little better and learn about his other services. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Behind Closed Doors with the Brooks.
Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys next week. And I think if we get some time, because you're off this week, we may go ahead and record and break that, like sort of the part 2 of who you
Talk
are,
about all that, yeah.
and help people understand the
We
kind of
can
things.
make that happen.
Could we make that happen? Would y'all
this
like
week,
that? Would y'all like that? Put a thumbs up in the chat if you would like to hear.
Y'all want to hear my story?
Omar's
Because
story.
usually, right now, being able to hear my story, you paying for my tour, so I'm giving out my secrets for free. But it's okay.
Listen, you guys be good. We'll talk to you next week. At the end of the day, here's what we know to be true: you cannot get to any place of significance by yourself. And why is that, guys? Because
we all need some help.
Y'all be good. We'll talk to you.